The video for July 4th, 2017 is entitled July 4th, 1776, Declaration of Independence. Quote, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. For the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor." Last night, I gave a short presentation at the Pod Church where I used to be on the board. It was a remembrance of what the United States stood for when first founded. I continued with the preamble to the Constitution and more that I share again here. Yes, there were four speakers invited to share. The opening one was prayers for our leaders, and then prayers for our people, which was my part, and then prayers for our land and mutual resources, and then prayers for our place in the world. Those were the four topics that four different people were invited to give a short presentation about. And as I said, I was the one who was talking about our people, because it's we, the people, that are important, as it states plainly in the opening lines of the preamble to the United States Constitution, which of course came a little bit after July the 4th, when they actually formed the first nation. I'm quoting again, "We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our prosperity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America." And of course, they also wanted a Bill of Rights, and so they created 10 amendments. There was initially 12, but the first 2 went out, and number 3 became number 1. And it says this: "Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people to peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances." Number 2, "A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." And here's something that most people do not know, because they don't talk about it. They seem to have eliminated it in modern documents. Nevertheless, there was an original 13th Amendment. It wasn't one guaranteeing the right of slaves to be considered citizens, which maybe I'll get into in this video, we'll see. But the original 13th Amendment read like this, and it is found in the archives of many of our early documents. It's there, but you don't find it easily. You've got to search for it. But that amendment, number 13, says this: "If any citizen of the United States shall accept, claim, receive, or retain any title of nobility or honor, or shall, without the consent of Congress, accept and retain any present, pension, office, or emolument of any kind whatever, from any emperor, king, prince, or foreign power, such person shall cease to be a citizen of the United States, and shall be incapable of holding any office of trust or profit under them, or either of them." And I made the comment last night in my talk that prohibited bar attorneys, and remember, bar means the British Accredited Registry, It had prohibited them from holding any public office. They couldn't even be dog catchers. They were not considered citizens of the United States when they took an oath of allegiance to the King of England or to the Bar Association. And the last quotation that I made in the presentation last night was Lincoln's Gettysburg Address delivered on November 19, 1863, where he said, "Fourscore and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth in this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth." Ironically, and I said this in my talk last night, Lincoln was the first bar attorney to be president of the United States. Yet he was assassinated for printing greenbacks to finance the Union side of the war, not borrowing from the international bankers, as the international bankers wanted, because borrowing from them gave them control. That's the whole thing about the United States. It was not founded to be a slave of international bankers any more than it was founded to be a slave of some royal king or queen in England or any other European nation or any other nation in the world. It was to be independent of outside influence. That's the whole point of July the 4th, that a lot of people don't get and don't understand, because we've been taught incorrectly. We've had things like the original 13th Amendment withheld from us. We've had lies told to us over and over and over again, and our natural abilities to think for ourselves has been watered down and taken away in our education system. Our monetary system has enslaved us, not just Black, but all of us, regardless of our heritage, if you will. We have been trampled upon by international bankers who work out of the Vatican. The Pope, the Catholic Church, is a player in this. The City of London, and I mean the central city of London, where the real controllers operate from, and of course Washington, D.C., which is the now capital, a District of Columbia, and it has played the position of the warmongers. They fight the battles all over the world. In only 2 years since the founding of this nation was this nation ever not at war with somebody. 2 years out of our entire history, we were not at war, because the United States were the military arm of the cabal, the military arm of this elite establishment that wanted to control us, we the people. It's time for us to wake up, folks. It's time for us to get our act together. It's time for us to recognize that we are one people under a creator, whatever you want to call that creator, whatever religion you want to adhere to, is okay, unless you let the religion evade or help you evade the concept of loving one another as God or the Creator loves us all. I wish we could get back to our roots. I wish we could get back to the meaning that our forefathers tried to instill in us. And as I said in one of the other videos, after they created the Declaration of Independence, a lady asked Benjamin Franklin what they had given. He says, we've given you a nation, man, if you can keep it. We've given you a constitution, a nation, if you can keep it. we lost it a long time ago. Thank you for listening.